Welcome to Lovely Important Nonsense Podcast. Woo, I was stuttered on that one. It's your boy Matt. It's my favorite part is Spellen. What's going on? And then we give it that. You have to stop and then give it the awkward silence at the end because it doesn't hit home. I need them to know who I am.
Is that audio piped in?
Yeah.
So when you bring it down?
Boom.
Okay, got you.
Black. Boom. All right. And I'm here today with a guest. We are right now we're on the lovely series of the Lovely Important Nonsense podcast, and we're talking about mental health on men. And today I got the honor to sit down with a man right now who deals with mental health himself. Also, is coaching others in helping how to deal with mental health, which I believe is awesome. All right. Can you please let the people know who you are? And
So my name is Ronnie, born and raised in Woodside, Queens, New York. And I've been working in an adolescent health center, Mount Sinai, for about 10 years.
Okay.
And so why I've been, you mentioned right now about the whole mental health and not just coaching, but it's really spreading awareness.
Yes.
And so what I've done recently is that I've seen people pass away and, due to depression and then depression leading to suicide, that kind of thing. And so that just opened up my eyes even more, because I've dealt with depression myself, anxiety, stress. And with those passings, something just told me, is like, all right, like you've told your close friends, your close family may know you're doing therapy, but it feels like a voice needed to be heard in a sense for people to then see like, all right, like, oh, like Ronnie seems like he's good, he's fine, he's healthy, but he goes through these issues. And so I felt like I put out a video on IG, just, like I'm going to talk about this. And right away, a couple of people hit me up saying, oh, like I want to talk about my issues as well. Granted, things happen where they didn't join me on the IG live, but once I spoke afterwards, I got a little bit of, one was concern. People were concerned for me because they didn't know. They just didn't know. They're like, oh my God, like you're going through all these things. Like, what happened? And then the other part of it was a bunch of them, and mostly men, were like, wow, I can't believe you spoke out about these certain things. I've gone through this, that, and the third, but I would never have, in a sense, the balls to speak out on it or let people know that I go through these things. And I told these people, I'm like, that's the problem there. You should speak out about this stuff, because how are people going to understand what you're going through if you don't tell them what you're going through?
Right.
It's just and then you hold that in, and it just gets worse. And
yeah, but I didn't want to interrupt. Why won't, in your opinion, why don't men talk about this?
It's just the way we grew up, man. I mean, I grew up with an older brother that was basically like, if you know him, he's a macho, strong, imposing figure. And he basically raised me. Like I always said it, like I didn't grow up with my real father. And he basically raised me. And so I got that from a young age. It's kind of like, if I cried, it was like, oh, you being a little pussy, or, I'm sorry if I curse or not, whatever.
Curse it.
Be a little pussy, or you soft, whatever, that kind of thing, right? And so you kind of learn just to bottle that up. It's like not to show that side.
Right.
But I didn't know until my adult years what kind of things I actually dealt with when I was younger. Like I didn't know what it was that I had. Like I just know that now from, taking courses in college and learning from my own experience as an adult. I'm like, oh my God, like when I was younger, I've had these other things. Like I used to just think that I was just shy and nervous, but I had anxiety. I used to have problem with anxiety. My heart would beat fast, my breathing would get out of control, and it's something that now I understand more about. Depression, same thing. It's like since a young age, I just never dealt well with death.
Right.
Like I don't like attending funerals. I don't like, when people pass away, it may not be somebody close to me, but if it's someone close to you and you're my friend, I take that pain on myself. I'm like, I hurt for my friend. And so I keep that to myself. And then people don't notice, someone with depression, and there's different types. There's, for me personally, when I've dealt with it during a breakup, I've dealt with it with death. But you just hold that to yourself, and you don't even notice your own behavior. Like you just stay to yourself, laying down in bed, quiet. You don't want to be around people, and people just kind of brush it off. And that's kind of like my thing now. It's kind of letting people know is like those little signs as adults and what we've gone through, like you got to catch that and then be there for those people, because people are not going to speak up. They're just not. So you have to kind of like say, hey, are you okay? What's going on with you? Can I help you? More importantly, that's the thing. Like, can I help you? Because I never got that. I had it like, in a sense, this past year, the COVID hit, and it was like, it's, you know, it just sucks to be home all the time. I'm living with my girlfriend, with her mother. Her mother tested positive, and we just started butting heads about different little things. And then there was a point where it felt like she didn't understand what was coming for us, as far as I lost a friend due to COVID. And he wasn't, you know, he was at a younger age. He was about 50, let's say. But I felt like, you know, he had so much more to live. And I was just sad. I was depressed. And it was kind of like, I felt that she was looking at me like, all right already, like move on already, like kind of thing. And it was like you just don't move on. And there was other issues. And then it became to a point where it was like, I felt like I was going to break up with her. Like, I'm done with this. This is too much. And my last resort was basically, you know what, before I do this, let me get therapy. Like, let me get therapy and let me see if that helps. Because I've actually vouched therapy to other people, but I've never done it myself. I just used to be that friend that talks to my friends and just give them advice. Like, help them without judging, because that's kind of like the kind of person I am. Is like, listen, you could tell me anything. I'm not going to judge you. Like, I'm very, I'm very empathetic. I try to put myself in your shoes and see where you're coming from. And I try not to judge, because everybody has their own experiences, their own way of thinking, that kind of thing. And so I don't hold nothing against nobody. Like, I'm very,
I get you. So I hear what you're saying, but what will make these guys be more brave to step forward and have the conversation of mental health? Because you would think that growing up, when we grew up, our age at that time, it was looked at as being a pussy in a way, to be like, okay, this is bothering me, because you had to be ready for something to happen. All right. So but since things gotten quiet, I feel that maybe we've now we have to address what was going on back then. And I do agree with you that there are things that we have not addressed from our past that creates what these imbalances as adults. Right. So but even me, I could even say that it's kind of tough to seek mental health, or to seek help, when you're not sure if you really need the help. You know what I'm saying?
I think it's with a lot of people is like the perception. You don't want to be thought of as you're crazy. But you know, like, just because you have anxiety or stress or depression, like, it doesn't make you crazy.
But like, would you think that anxiety is needed in a way? Like, I'm not saying, like, of course, not bone-staking anxiety, right, when you're, like, crushed down. But in a way, is anxiety needed for a man? And what I would say, because of the jobs that would take, the titles. I'm not saying that anyone else wouldn't take those jobs, but just the positions that men like to put themselves in. Do you think the anxiety is there for a reason? This is just a thought. I was having a conversation with another therapist about this, and we were just and I was wondering, like, was the anxiety there for? Do you feel, someone who deals with like mental health all the time, that anxiety is like okay in the sense, like in a small way?
It's okay. I mean, I kind of look at anxiety as like as an okay, because it's like an adrenaline thing, right? So if you feel like there's pressure, and then pressure to perform, let's say, like your job or whatever. So you're always gonna have that and feel like, you know, I gotta get all these things done in a certain time, and, you know, not, you know, perform at a high level kind of thing.
Just to be a person, just to be alive.
But the anxiety that, you know, some people deal with is really overthinking. Right. You know, you put your mind in a situation where it's thinking about things that it shouldn't be thinking about, like things that are out of your control. Right. And that's the worst part of anxiety, is like you start thinking, and then it's like why am I thinking all this? I can't go to sleep. I'm laying down in bed. I've been in my bed for 2 hours, but I'm thinking about this, that, and the third. And it's like some things are not in your control. Right. And it's something that I have to deal with at a daily basis. Like I go to therapy now. I go to therapy now bi-weekly. I don't go every week now, just because of the program I have now with my therapist. But that's my thing that I still deal with. Is like, as much as I'm being told, hey, this is out of your control. You can't worry about this. Slow down. Process these things. And it's like, I still get anxious. I still start. I feel it. I even right now recording this podcast, I get a little, like, that feeling of anxiousness of like, all right, preparing for a question. Like, if I'm waiting for you to say a question, it's like, all right, what is he gonna say? How do I answer it? And it's like, yo, just calm down. Like, we're amongst friends. Exactly. Yeah, we're amongst the friends, but I have to like coach myself.
Right.
I have to coach myself. And so again, like the way we grow up, it's like these little things. I think a lot of it has to do with education. Like, we don't catch these things and tell ourselves like, maybe that's what my son is going through. Maybe he has some kind of thing. It's like, and then how do I help him? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just now learning more about myself. Over the years, I knew I had these different issues, but I didn't know how to deal with them. And that's the main thing. How do you deal with it?
I feel like mental health is kind of a new thing. You know what I'm saying? And not in a way that it's never been, that it hasn't always been here, but in a way of like, it's now being studied. Like now we're seeing how significantly impactful it is on a person. Right. Before, like you were saying, when we was growing up, like, you better not cry. You know? You don't even know how to ask.
You keep crying, I'm gonna whip your ass worse.
Whip your ass, right? Or go fight that boy around the corner because we don't take those type of stuff. Right. Yeah. So I get it, and I do understand how that could carry over as an adult, and how that could be kind of like it could become toxic. But but when do you notice like things like depression, like when the anxiety becomes so bad that now you're in bed and you don't know, you can't move, and the room is dark, or the world just feels a little glim. Like, when do you know that depression is real for you as a person? And if you are a man, how do you understand that you have it?
So I don't notice it in the moment, to be honest with you. I never notice it in the moment. I could tell myself, oh, someone passed away. I feel sad right now for this, for my friend. He lost his father, and I feel sad. I hurt for my friend. I shed tears because it just hurts me for my friend, and I know he's gonna hurt, and he's gonna have to grieve, and he's gonna have to deal with that. And then I'll take that on, and then it will be just the thoughts, of me thinking like, what if my mom were to pass away? What if my father were to pass away? What if my brother were to pass away? Those thoughts, that kind of thing. And so, but I don't notice until after the fact. It's like, damn, why am I thinking about these things? But in a sense, like, I tell myself, I can't help it. I care so much about these people. I love these people so much. I can't help it. But, little by little, as I'm talking to my therapist, and I'm now talking to my girlfriend about these things, because before I wouldn't be open to her about these things, where it's like we could talk to each other and then be like, all right, like, calm down. Don't think like that. Like, again, it's trying to drill in your own head that some things are out of your control. And when you realize that, it helps, because it's like, all right, if this were, like, for instance, I spoke to my brother recently, and, he has this health condition where he gets sick, and I try to help him. I try to get him therapy. And he's one of the people that's like, not against it. He tried it, but he felt he could do without. And I felt like, you're going through so much, you're not really giving it a chance, kind of thing. And then after a while, he got sick, and I was just like, what if he gets sick? What if he gets worse? And I'm like, damn, what if I didn't get him the help? Like, I did try to get him help. He tried it once. But what if I didn't do enough to help him? And I was holding that guilt in that I wasn't doing enough. Yeah. And then I spoke to him, and he just told me, he's like, yo, you did it not. You did so much for me while I was sick. You took care of I took care of my nephew. And I was there for him. I was talking to him. And he's like, yo, you don't have to hold that guilt in. Like, if something were to happen to me, it's not going to be on you. And as much as that felt good to hear from him, because that's what my therapist said, like, you need that from him to feel like it's not going to be your fault. I still worry, I still worry. That's my brother. So it's not something that, I wish I could catch it. I'm self-aware. I know about it for myself, but it's a daily thing. Like, it's like, I can't help certain situations that I get anxious or I get stressed out, and I gotta like walk away from the situation and take a breather, that kind of stuff. It's ongoing thing, bro.
I get it. I get it. So how does a man know when he's dealing with it?
I mean, I think a lot of people are just ignorant, to be honest with you. Like a lot of men, especially of color, again, it's how we grew up is just to thug it out, tough it out, and just, don't show your emotions.
Yeah.
Don't show weakness. Because if you show weakness, people could take advantage of that kind of thing. But I feel what I've learned right now is like by me opening up and me talking about these things, is that I'm showing strength in something that a lot of people. Again, I've seen people, and I've heard from people that if you knew them, you'd be like, oh my God, this person is dealing with something.
Yeah.
Like, cause they've contacted me and said like, yo, you have balls to speak out about this stuff. I go through a lot of stuff, and a lot of people have their vices of how to deal with it. And I find it kind of crazy that like a lot of these people have children. And it's like you're setting an example of saying that this is okay to just hold it in. And I don't think that's right. Like I feel like I wish when I was younger, I had a parent, because again, I didn't have my father. My brother took care of me. My brother, my brother was always out and about. He was a teenager when I was growing up, kind of thing. And I wish I had a parent to tell me it's okay to cry. It's okay to talk to me.
Yeah.
Like talk to me. I feel like a lot of times, as much as a parent, you want to be like your kid's friend. Part of it is that be their friend. Separate from being a parent. Like you have to kind of talk to them and let them be able to talk to you without judgment, without them gonna feel like, oh my God, I'm gonna get punished for saying something or feeling a certain way.
Yeah, I do agree with you on that when it says like there should be an open line of communication between you and the child, and they should feel comfortable to come to you when there's issues. I'm not really sure about the whole agreement and I'm not taking anything away from what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's just that I feel like parents they was raising children to deal with the times that they were in at the moment, and they wasn't really ready to deal with the times that were coming soon. So that's when I was saying earlier, and I was like, do you think that parents was just like trying to just do the best that they can at that moment and have the kids grow up the way they had to survive, but didn't know that the kids were going to have to survive a different way when they got older.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? So like now, from the comfortability of what the parents have given us, or however they made us the anxious or whatever, now we're able to afford to talk about mental health than before we wasn't able to do so.
Yeah.
I always think that I like to try to think about what also would be a possibility for these reasons, because I don't like to think that every parent just was like so ignorant and didn't know. Like, it's even me. I have 3 of them things. It's really hard to kind of have a conversation with 3 kids and then be raising them, and then got to go to work, and then what I'm saying, it's difficult, So I mean, but I definitely agree there should be an open line of communication between the child and the parent, so the kid could feel a little bit more comfortable to express these feelings and stuff like that. I just don't feel like there was another time in our history where we had these, we had the ability to do this,
right?
I also myself I suffer from anxiety, so I know when she was telling me about you and I was looking everything up, I really wanted to know how you dealt with your anxiety and how you was able to like overcome the weight of it all, So and also I have a lot of males that listen to the show, so they want to know things like, okay, if it's okay to be emotional, then why do they feel like they would be judged if they are, if so many men feel the same way about mental health now, like why won't they just do it and not feel like they're going to be judged, because most guys, won't they usually feel like they're going to be judged because of it.
Anyone in general, I think it goes with women too. Like people are just gonna assume that they will be judged. I think the more we speak about it, the more it's out there.
Yeah.
The more people are gonna feel comfortable, not hiding it anymore.
Right.
You know, kind of thing. Because again, it's a perception.
Right.
Like, oh, you have mental health issues, you must be crazy. It's not all mental health issues that you're crazy or that you know, kind of thing. It's just things you deal with. You know, your mind takes over certain things and it makes your body do certain things.
Right.
And then you start, you know, again, thinking certain things, that kind of thing. So it doesn't make you crazy, you know? And so I don't know the answers to overcoming it. I just know that I just keep like preaching to people that if you're going through things, it's like, I don't think the solution is to try to do it on your own.
Right.
You know, get that professional help. Get that, at least that, like, go get to the core of why you feel anxious, why you're so stressed out, why, you know, you're depressed, and then how to harness your feelings in a sense. Because sometimes you have these feelings and you don't know how, it's hard to control them.
Right.
But the best thing to do is to express it. Because if you just hold that in, and there's going to come a point where you're going to, like, in a sense, explode. Because you've been bottling it up all this whole time, and it's just one day it's gonna be like, and then you might take it on the wrong person too. Right. Because I've been in that situation. Yeah. It was like I didn't speak to nobody, and then it's like, oh, well, you're here in front of me, and now I'm upset, and now I'm frustrated, and now I'm this and that, and so then you're getting the brunt of this right now. And so again, it's like it took for me to, in a sense, quote unquote, get rock bottom and feel like I'm gonna lose my girlfriend, we're gonna break up, this is going horrible right now, and so I'm gonna try this. And little by little I see myself getting better. Now, how much better have I gotten? I feel like I've progressed, but there's so much more. You know, I feel like this is gonna take years, and I might have to do therapy for the rest of my life just to live as best of a normal life that I can, especially because I don't have children right now. Okay. So I'm not in the situation you are right now. So one of the things my girlfriend was telling me at one point when I started therapy was like, this is good because God forbid we have children. It's like you dealing with these things while we have children. It's like, what if you're not functioning at a high level as a parent because of your issues? So let's get to the bottom of this now before we become parents. And now when I do become a parent, I'm going to have these tools and these, you know, things that I've been, you know, experienced and also been taught to now pass it down, you know? Right. So that's how, and then it's kind of, again, me speaking more and more and more about it. And I'm going to continue to do it because I just feel like enough people in the last few weeks have given me feedback and telling me, you know, like, this is a good thing you're doing. Continue doing it. It's like, again, the more we do it, the more we talk about it, the more we do podcasts like this, it's going to feel more normal to people to be open about it.
You have any suggestions like that men in particular should use to like get over these anxious situations when they are anxious or these depressing moments are coming up? Do you have any suggestions that men should use or should do or something?
I mean, I'll only speak to what works for me. Yeah, and so now I have, besides therapy, I count my breaths, my breathing. So I try to, like, you know, take deep breaths. We do that in trance. Just, you know, just meditate if you can, if you like into meditation. For me, I'm comfortable listening to like rain, like sounds, like rain noises, that kind of thing, and just that helps with my mind just to ease it. But again, that's if I'm at a place like home to do that. But let's say I'm anxious at work, that kind of thing. I just learned, you know what, it's okay to walk away and, you know, go take a walk. Right. Go take a walk, kind of thing. Okay, and just put yourself away from whatever's making you anxious, whatever's stressing you out in that moment. Just go take a walk, kind of thing. But otherwise, I feel like everybody has to have that one or two friends. It could be a partner that you can speak to. Right. And a lot of men, I feel like, are afraid to even speak to their partner and tell them their, you know, their thoughts and feelings. Like, it's really, I've been in that situation where it's like, I'm mad at them for not understanding me, but then at the same time, I wasn't telling them everything. I wasn't telling them how I was feeling because I really did feel the whole thing like, how do I look saying that I this, that, and the third? Right. And I felt like even though she's my girlfriend, she's going to judge me. I felt that. I didn't feel comfortable speaking to them until my therapist said, like, hey, you have to. There's no way that relationship is going to be fixed or get better unless you tell them. Now, they may not fully understand what you're going through, but at least you're telling them now, right? So that way they know, okay, you have something. So now it's not, oh my God, he's just screaming or yelling or, you know, he's moping, whatever it is, that there's a reason for that now. Now I get it. It's not just that I don't know what's going on there. So it's just about being open.
Wow. What happens if you don't have a person to lean on? What if
That's the tough part. Yeah. So that's where I think people get in the situation.
Yeah, because we have guys like they'll break down. They'll break down and they'll break down for many reasons. And one big reason is because they don't have a partner or they don't have friends. So they have this communication back and forth to help them the way they think they need to be helped. So I mean, what type of things that they should do? Any activities or anything you think that? I mean, it's kind of tough now with COVID. You can't really go out there and talk to people. But like anything else you think?
It's really hard. I mean, it's for men, and if you have issues and you're holding it in and you don't have someone to talk to, I think that's where people get caught up. It's like they don't have someone to speak to, and it's about being willing to accept help. Because I feel like that's the thing. Some people are gonna say, "Oh, I don't need help. I'm fine. I'll deal with it." But then it just catches up day by day. The more you're doing that to yourself, as far as I'm just gonna handle it by myself and put everything on my shoulder, and it catches up. So it's hard to tell someone you need help. Be willing to be helped. Be willing to be helped. Don't think because you're asking for help that makes you weak.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
I'm only speaking from like the man that likes the real, like the man that likes to work, right? Like if you're a working man and you gotta put kids and no kids, you gotta put food on the table. You working probably 6 days out of the week, probably 6.5. You have mental health issues. What time do you have? Like so. It's kind of hard to like tell them what time to have and to go find help when they don't even have time for themselves.
Right. I think it's about making it a priority, to be honest with you. Yeah. Like if you have any issues, and with men that work a lot, like one of those things is mental health. Like,
because those guys are the guys that are usually like something like they're the ones that worst is fucked up thing to say, but those are the guys that usually commit suicide first.
Right. They overexhaust themselves.
So they overexhausted. They never dealt with the issues, and one day they just break.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, but when you don't have time for yourself, how do you find time for help? I mean, like the dollar bill's gonna change if you decide to take a day off.
Yeah.
So what do you do then?
No, I think this is education, man. We gotta just start letting people know that if you don't take care of your mind, then you can't take care of yourself, like your whole self.
Right.
Your mind has to come first. Like I've been telling people that even people that have kids is like, listen, if you're not right here, how are you supposed to take care of your family? Like, to the best of your capabilities kind of thing. Like if you're not right here, you're not going to be able to do the things you want to do to help them as a father, and so it's about making it a priority. You have to, like I tell people all the time, it's like you can't work 6-7 days nonstop with no rest. You have to rest. You have to take a break, and it's okay for you to take a mental day. Okay. Like just slow down, because I've been there. I've been where I was in school for full time, working full time. I had a relationship. I was trying to keep it, like active and doing things every day, that kind of thing. And then it caught up to me one time where I got sick, and doctors was like, yo, you're fine. And they did stress tests and this, that. And it's like, the only thing they could explain it was like, hey, you overextended yourself. You've been doing too much and you haven't rest. You need to rest. You need to slow down, rest. So I can only imagine somebody in a higher position with that pressure of, having to, let's say a businessman with his business.
Yeah, he got the company on his back
and all that pressure, but they need that break. And I'm gonna be like, for me, I take like my breaks or my joy in life sometimes is just going away on a vacation. And a lot of people in those power positions don't even do that. And it's like why are you working so hard for if you can enjoy your life? Have that break away from work.
That number gonna change, yo.
Some people
you can't have that number change. Once the number change, it's over. Go into panic.
So yeah, I just think people again, it's priority. Put yourself, as selfish as it sounds, you have to put yourself first. Like yourself first, and say, hey, I gotta keep myself straight here, and then everything else will fall into place.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Was it tough when you had to like open up and talk to like your girlfriend and your family? Like, was it tough when you first had to be like, okay, I'm gonna just say what's on my chest?
Before I even spoke to my girlfriend, before we went to therapy, I spoke to my mother. So she kind of sensed everything that was going on, and she was worried. And she was like, "Yo, no matter what, whatever happens between you and your girlfriend, like I'm gonna always be here for you." And I always had that as a crutch. Like, my mom's always here. I know I could talk to my mom, kind of thing.
Right.
But when I first spoke to my girlfriend about like all these issues, like she knew something was up, but she just like I just wasn't telling her what it was. I was just ignoring her. I was just taking out like my anger, my frustrations on her. I put that on her. And then once I noticed, it's like, listen, she didn't even understand what I'm going through.
Right.
I have to explain it to her. So, and then after that, she really still was like, oh, okay, but she didn't really fully understand. And then when she got therapy, once she saw that I started getting better, she got therapy. And then she also was like, the common thing we got from it was, this is not a recent thing. This is something from like our childhood. Like we've gotten all these things from our childhood, and it's just we never got to address it until now, because someone is talking to us and telling us, oh, like, speak more about that, what happened to you when you were younger, or let me like how did that feel when you were younger, like that kind of thing. So it's like, oh, like now it's like, oh snap, like I didn't know that was something that was really that important back then that I hold to this day, kind of thing. So it's like you learn as you go, and again, it's not easy. It's not an easy conversation, because then you got to be real honest too. Because that's the thing too. Like I had to say things that it was like I felt like if I say this, it might upset her, or it might make her look at me differently. But I had to do it because at that point I had nothing to lose. It was like, I'm getting this help, but if this doesn't work out, it's not going to be because I didn't try.
Right.
At that point I was like, hey, I got therapy. Like I'm getting help. So me telling you this stuff is to make us better. But if we stay together or not, that's a whole nother story. But I'm telling you this, that, and the third, and I'm trying to keep it 100 with you. And since then, it's been that. It's been that we speak to each other on a weekly basis. Like we make time for that. It's like, listen, let's speak about our sessions, that kind of thing. And it's like saying the things in the moment, not holding it in. Like saying in the moment, express yourself in the moment. Like, listen, this is bothering me. Listen, what you said earlier, or what you did, or why I said, like, why I spoke, whatever. Just in that moment, just saying it.
Sorry about that.
No worries.
Back at stuff. That's dope, man. I'm happy that everything's going right for you, man. And I appreciate that you came on and you was able to come out here and talk with us.
My pleasure.
Kat sent me over the information. I loved it. Thank you again.
I appreciate the opportunity.
Definitely. Can you let everyone know where to find you, how to get especially with the mental health things, let them know how they could seek mental health, and where they could find your stuff and your podcast, please.
Oh, so my podcast is a fantasy sports podcast. So that's like but that's like my hobby of what distracts me from dealing with other stuff. So it's Fantasy Sports Fiends. That's FEENZ. And that's on Spotify and other platforms. It's fantasy sports, betting, that kind of thing. It's one of my passions, so that's what I do on the side. As far as mental health, I just started putting everything on my IG kind of thing. And if you're my personal friend on Facebook, or the kind of thing. So my IG is Ron654 is my neighborhood numbers or whatever. And I'm just starting to like share stuff that and then if I could share something, then put like my 2 cents of my personal stuff, then I throw that in there just so people know, like, listen, this quote or this meme, whatever it is, like this is this is coming from me now personally,
right?
Like read the thing, try to take it all in, and here's something that I've gone through, kind of thing. And going forward, I'm just gonna try my best to do like the IG live discussions.
Yes.
See if people are willing to open up. I know it's not easy, but I hope people would try at least. And because the more, like, I don't want to be the only one. I want more people to just put themselves out there so that people can see, like, oh wow, like, oh, this person too, this person, oh wow. And then it will just continue. It's like, all right, like, why am I afraid to speak up if so and so are speaking up?
Right.
And that's what I want.
I got you, man. That's awesome. Thank you again for your time. All right. I'm gonna cut this. This was dope. This is the lovely series of the Lovely Important Nonsense podcast. This is Mental Health. I'm Matt. I'm out.
Thank you guys.